Hello again guys, it's DanMinigun from Mushroom Cloud Gaming. Today's video is quite the impromptu one. I did not plan on doing it, and that's about it. I just wanted to express something that I've been seeing for a long time in the Battlefield community. And what is this something, you might ask? Well, it's quite simple really. Battlefield 1 hype train is in full swing right now. Everyone is raving about how great the game is. Or are they? Now, before I go any further, I would like to say I'm not trying to defend the game. I mean, for God's sake, it's not even out yet. I am not one to defend a company or a game or engage in any silly tribalistic conflict. Just wanted to talk about some comments I've seen regarding the game and the Battlefield series in general really. It's nothing new, but you know, Battlefield 1 is the flaming paragon of awesome right now, right? And it has to have some haters, right? Of course it does. I just want to address some comments which are not uniquely new to Battlefield 1 and quite frankly I think are misplaced and rather pointless. And yes, I'm going to talk about bolt-action rifles. Much to my enjoyment, the Battlefield 1 pre-alpha gameplay actually showed a lot of weapon variety, including semi-autos, fully automatics and submachine guns. And then I scrolled down into the YouTube comment section. Oh boy, was I shocked.
But in World War 1, the average soldier used only bolt-action rifles. Oh, it's so unrealistic, it's going to please the kiddies.
No, no and no. I am 100% sure that the way Battlefield 1 is being designed is not solely to please the kiddies. And yes, that is actually a real comment I saw on Matimio's videos. And here is why I think these comments are complete and utter bullshit. Battlefield game has always been a multiplayer shooter that focused first and foremost and above anything else on gameplay mechanics. Fun gameplay mechanics at that. Even starting from Battlefield 1942, you would see that the game is nowhere near as historically accurate as some people like to claim. For example, the medic class all were issued with submachine guns such as the Thompsons and MP18s. The simple reality of war was that the submachine gun was a special weapon to most nations. It was only issued to the most skillful commandos, sergeants and officers. It was most certainly not issued to combat medics. And I know some people are already thinking about Russia. Yes, Russia did issue submachine guns to pretty much every soldier, because basically they believed that the submachine gun was a far easier weapon to use. And of course with Battlefield 2, we saw the introduction of a ranked based system which unlocked several weapon types. Yes, you would start out with the M249 on the US side if you chose the support kit, which is accurate to what they usually use. However, rank up a bit and you can use the Russian-made general purpose machine gun, the PKM. Eventually, most of the Battlefield games started abandoning the idea of a faction-specific weapon entirely. The reason makes mechanical sense. Battlefield is mostly a symmetrical shooter with very few asymmetrical elements. The only exception were the double assault conquest modes available in previous refractor engine Battlefield games. The whole notion that one can use any weapon they wish, assuming it belongs to the correct class type, is just brilliant. You can use any gun you like, experiment with it, see what roles it would fill, and just generally enjoy using it without worrying if you are on the Russian or Chinese team. Because again, let's face it, who really cares who are the participatory armies in the actual game? I mean, sometimes in Battlefield 4, I forget that I'm fighting for the Chinese army apparently, and the only thing reminding me is their voiceovers. So let's talk about the reception to Battlefield 1 in regards to these comments. Bolt-action rifles. Yes, they were the majority weapons in World War 1. Yes, it would be more authentic if they were the primary weapon for most kids. However, would the core Battlefield audience actually enjoy this? Would they enjoy a limited weapon variety, of all things a single shot weapon? Would they enjoy a map design that is overly realistic? If Battlefield 4's map design is anything to go by, no, because they did approach it from a realistic perspective, and the game suffered a bit from it. Let's backtrack a bit. What exactly did I mean by the core audience would not enjoy this game? By core audience, I am referring to those hundred thousands of players who still play Battlefield on a regular basis, most notably Battlefield 4. These players have hundreds, even thousands of hours of gameplay, and they enjoy the game. Clearly, as why would Battlefield 4 have sometimes over 200,000 players when including all of the platforms? Clearly, it is doing something right. And that something right is, in my honest opinion, the idea of gameplay mechanics over realism. What exactly are these fun gameplay mechanics, you might ask? Well, the idea that a gun takes over 5 shots to kill someone, resulting in a high time to kill and a more skillful gameplay, coupled with decent recoil on the weapons, forcing players to maintain their accuracy and even go for headshots to secure the kill, and not simply rely on reaction times or extensive planning. That's one of them. A low time to kill would simply not work in a Battlefield game. This was evident in Battlefield Hardline, so much so that they finally nerfed weapons such as the K10, which did 3-shot kills up close, coupled with a ridiculously high fire rate of 1200 rounds per minute, which basically resulted in an instant death. So having a realistic time to kill would not even work. So who exactly are these people making these comments? They certainly are not the core Battlefield audience who enjoy the game. Let's just ignore the internet trolls for a bit, as I'm sure that there are some of them responsible for these comments. But then you see some of these comments being thumbed up to a point where they almost reached 100 likes. My suspicion that a lot of these comments are coming from people who play Battlefield but only for a short period of time. Something like, I don't know, 25 hours maybe? Someone with 25 hours surely has not experienced 1/50th of the content in something like Battlefield 4. They remained inexperienced and are most likely part of the casual audience that Battlefield has a tendency to attract. Of course, there's nothing wrong with this. I have played games which were multiplayer and got bored after a few hours. An example of this was Red Orchestra 2. I thought it had a phenomenal atmosphere, but really it was not the experience I was looking for. So yes, I do acknowledge that there is absolutely nothing wrong with playing a Battlefield game for such a short period of time. Not everyone gets into it like other players. What I find potentially damaging is that casual players start making these remarks without fully understanding what Battlefield truly is and always was. These arguments really start to fall apart when they include games like Arma. We've all seen it, we've all seen the Battlelog forums where someone complains about something and someone says, just go play Arma. I mean, I'm not even sure that's a valid comparison. Arma is barely a game to begin with. It is in fact a military simulator with more controls than a NASA space shuttle. So the final point. Are these arguments irrelevant? The real issue is not if these arguments are relevant, if you could call them that, it's just that they are just misplaced. Just like you would not expect a full-on racing simulator from something like Need for Speed, I would not expect Battlefield to emulate something such as Verdun, which, while not a simulator, is a far more authentic experience. So my final conclusion. Battlefield 1 is obviously a Battlefield game, and Battlefield games have always focused on gameplay mechanics. These fun Battlefield moment gameplay mechanics that everyone is so fond of. Take that away and you've essentially neutered Battlefield. In my opinion, when a Battlefield game decides to take on a theme, which with Battlefield 1 is obviously World War I, the theme is just there to make things a little more interesting visually and from an audio perspective. I mean, what did the biplanes do exactly? Well, they slowed down the pace of the aerial combat, made it more skillful, added more seats, and basically provided an excuse to actually proceed with these fun mechanics. So before I disappear onto the void, I would like to say just one last comment. Please, before you comment on something or suggest an item or idea, make sure you fully understand the thing you are talking about. I mean, here we're just talking about a game really, which to a lot of us means a lot. However, with a little bit more critical thinking and research, I think that we can avoid all these pointless conflicts, which are really nothing more than the human manifestation of tribalism. Something that I personally cannot stand. But enough about that. This has been DanMinigun from Mushroom Cloud Gaming. I'm looking forward to making more videos now that my summer holidays have actually started. You can look forward to more content on my channel. Goodbye and have a good one.